You wanted the best, well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking KISS.
Welcome to the Hooligan Nation, the KISS-Centric Podcast. I'm Anthony.
I'm Rocco.
Yes, you are. Welcome to our version of As the KISS World Turns, where we discuss KISS current events, rumors, news, and interviews with current and past members. Strap in, crank it up, and let's talk KISS. Good afternoon, Father Rocco.
How you doing?
I'm living the dream. How about you?
I'm hanging in there.
Oh, good. What do you want to talk about this week? You want to talk about KISS?
Yeah, let's talk about KISS. Sounds like a
Cool.
good idea. And we should start from the beginning.
Talking about KISS at this point is like watching an episode of MASH. Anyway, we'll start here. Gene Simmons passed out behind the wheel and crashed into a parked car last week.
You know, he kind of brushed it off as just a little fender bender. So I didn't think much of it. And you said you got some more information on that?
Yeah, well, supposedly, and I didn't see them directly, but supposedly Shannon came out on social media and kind of blew his shit up. And like, she didn't make a major thing about it, but she said something to the effect of he's got to start taking care of himself and blah, 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 blah. Reports have come out since then that the reason why he passed out was because he was dehydrated, which, you know, I guess at his advanced age, even when you're a demon, when you're a 75-year-old demon, you can pass out from being dehydrated. But I'm happy to report Gene appears fine. He was in Las Vegas over the weekend of October 12th to officiate Charlie Bonante's wedding. There are pictures posted on social media, and Gene looks good. And I grabbed one of those pictures, so it'll be up here somewhere. Would you like to move on to the next subject?
Sure.
Cool. Creatures Fest teased the big announcement, and the big announcement was that the KISS Cruise pre-party is official. Scheduled for Thursday, November 13th at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas for an evening of fun, fellowship, and amazing music. The night will include the KISS cocktail party, comedy with Courtney, the all-star band performing a salute to the KISS Alive album, followed by the Handsome Devils playing deep cuts from albums such as Creatures of the Night, Lick It Up, and more. The event will also serve as a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. This is a fan-created event for fellow fans brought to you by KISS Army Spain and KISS Cancer Goodbye. So if you're interested, if you're going to Vegas and you're interested in going to this on November 13th, you can get your tickets. There's a link from the Creatures Fest Facebook page if you're interested. Scheduled to perform, Gabriel Connor, Todd Kearns, Joey Casada, and Jeremy Asbrook, among others. So just so everybody's aware, it is not free. It goes from extremely expensive for like VIP packages all the way down to, I think the lowest ticket is $49, and that's a general admission standing only. But it, $59, and they're going to have a cocktail hour and a comedian and other things.
And a lot of the money's going to go to cancer research, so that's good.
Yeah, which, I don't know if you should be buying a ticket, but somebody should be buying a ticket for you.
Yes, because I gave up a kidney and had cancer. I'm doing good.
Hey, you gave up a kidney. Well, you had an extra one anyway, so
Yeah.
what's the big deal?
Yes, I'm doing good.
We can get you, maybe for Christmas, I'll get you a doctor. What'd they call that? Did they call that doctor the board game with the buzzer?
Oh, Operation.
Operation? Yeah, and you can keep trying to pull a kidney out. Then you can swallow it and hope it finds its place.
Yeah, you're definitely going in the weeds.
Yeah, well, that's where I go. I'm very comfortable in the weeds. Which brings me to this, Father Rocco. Have you looked outside today?
Yeah, I was outside doing some work outside.
Were you?
Yes.
Did you notice something going out outside?
Something going out?
Something going on outside.
Yeah. I actually like this time of year.
And what time of year would that be?
That would be fall.
It's great when we do this twice, don't we? Isn't it? You know the answers to the questions. It's almost like writing the answers to a test on your arm. It's fall. And what were we expecting in fall? What were we waiting for in the fall?
Halloween. I'm messing with you. Your birthday?
Well, yes, that counts too, but
Still messing with you. There's something that KISS fans are waiting for that I haven't heard nothing. And I'm pretty excited about it. I'll give you a hint. Black Diamond.
we have been waiting for the Peter Criss solo album. And it is October 15th. And I have not seen or heard anything about it at all. No release date, no teasing of it, no throw a single out, no nothing. Now, should I be as nervous as I am? Because I'm a little nervous that something's going on, that maybe it's never going to come out.
I don't know.
I got a lot of things rolling around in my head.
I'm excited about it. I heard Johnny Five's on the album, and we talked about it before. I'm looking forward to it, but it's been out of sight, out of mind. I haven't really thought about it, and you brought it up to me today, and I'm like, talk about silence. You would think that there'd be some teasers, especially with the Vegas event coming up.
Well, that's what I'm also thinking is, if I was part of Peter's promotion and marketing team, if he has one, I might want to push it a couple more weeks, like beginning in November, first week in November, only because you're gonna put 2,000 to 4,000 KISS fans all in Las Vegas, all at the same time, and you're going to put us all into one hotel. And at least to me, if that album gets released, let's just say November 11th, November 12th, that is going to be the number one thing talked about. And what's going to come of that? Purchases, streaming, where's Waldo? Because we still haven't been told who's going to play the drums for KISS. Now, again, with the keyboard warriors, I was on social media, which I should probably not be on because they piss me off. Some keyboard warrior on some Facebook group, and I don't remember which one, he put a paragraph out. It was like this big, of the scientific reason why Brian Tichy is the drummer for Gene Simmons' solo band, and why Brian Tichy is going to be the drummer in Vegas for KISS. Who the hell is he, and how the hell does he know? These guys, they get on there and they get keyboard muscles and they start spreading rumors that can't be confirmed because there's no confirmation of it anywhere. And other people read it and think it's fact. Well,
And the more you let it go, the more that people try to throw out stuff and try to, it makes it,
make
makes
no
it more
mistake.
of a mess.
Make no mistake. I blame Pop House, Gene, and Paul for this. Somebody should have already come out and said something. We've killed this subject maybe more than any other subject. But hey, we're working on it. Hey, we're negotiating. Hey, Eric's not coming. Either one, it's an answer.
They're obviously playing games with it. It's obvious because there's no reason not to at least say, hey, listen, man, he's playing hardball with Pop House. It is what it is. If hopefully something happens, but if not, we got Brian Tichy to fill in for his spot if he doesn't show up.
Yeah, that would be great. You mean to tell me, and this is no knock on you, but you mean to tell me you are smarter than Pop House or Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons?
I definitely don't have anywhere near their money.
Right, but you just said something, one sentence, that at least for me would be answer enough for me. At this point, we're negotiating, would be answer enough for me. We're not negotiating. He said no. And
But
now,
to,
of course, my next question, and every KISS fan's next question would be, why? Why is he not coming?
and you know what? We covered this before, and in all honesty, if I was a bet man, we're going to be going to Vegas. If I had to put money down on something, the money I'm putting down is on that this is a concerted effort to keep the chatter going and not put anything out there that make people continue stirring shit up and not giving an answer. To me, it's a concerted effort. It has to be. Because you can't tell me with all the different talk shows that Paul's been on, podcasts that Paul's been on, and Gene's been on, that they don't even know what people are thinking about with Eric. Like they have to be brain dead to not have this be a concerted effort.
Dude, I gotta tell you something. I spend a quite a bit of time like in the KISS world
Mhm.
these days. I have never even considered, I don't think, that it's a promoting tool. I mean,
It's intentional. To me, it's intentional.
I don't see how it benefits them,
I don't either.
but I sure as hell am not gonna argue with you because it's so crazy. At this point, it's so crazy that anything is believable. I think it's you know, this just came to my head. Wouldn't it be crazy if Thursday, November 13th, we walked into the Virgin and Eric Singer was standing there?
I would love that.
But then we walked back in on the 14th and he wasn't there.
Come again?
No, think about that. Like he shows up for the
Oh, I know. Okay.
pre-party and then he's not around for the 14th, 15th and 16th like
That's interesting.
that would be and I'm just making shit up in my head, but that would be crazy. With everything surrounding Eric and Kiss right now, I think anything's possible. That's
Well, and the other thing that like this is what another reason that aids my narrative that it's intentional is they are a four-piece band. Even retired, they are a four-piece band, and Eric is part of that. So for them to completely ignore addressing it in the least makes no sense. And then you want to say to me, okay, well, you know what? The reason they're not saying anything about it is because it's a negotiation, it's legal. What exactly could they say that would hurt the legal dispute back and forth?
nothing. To me, that's the end all of the conversation right there. Is if Pop House puts something out on the website, either website, the Vegas website or kissonline.com, or Paul or Gene, or for that matter, Doc McGhee came out on a podcast, or they just put a video out and said, hey, look, there's a negotiation going on. We can't talk about it. That to me,
But even wasn't even on the one podcast, wasn't even Doc being slick and coy about it?
he was. He wasn't. Instead of saying that, I guess he kind of said maybe a little different of a version of that, but it was muddier and murkier, at least to me.
Right.
And look, to me, that ends all because what you're saying is at least, and look, you and I don't have any original thoughts that no one else in this world hasn't had or isn't having. I think everybody thinks this is financial.
Well, I just got like real quick. You were in law enforcement. To
I
me,
was.
yes. Well, the reason I'm bringing it up is because does circumstantial evidence amount to anything?
Yes, it does.
So that to me, there's enough circumstantial evidence that proves that they're playing games with it and they want the chatter to continue all the way up till a decision's made.
I just don't look. I'm not arguing with you, and you absolutely can be right. I just think it's a weird way to create buzz.
I agree. I think
It's
it's
it's funny
kind of corny,
because
but
it's funny because we're about to talk about a podcast that Doc McGhee was on, and Doc McGhee says something about, or the guy that's interviewing him says something about a band's music being released early. And this guy, I guess he worked for Doc McGhee, and he had to go to Doc, and he had to be the one to tell him, hey, this music leaked. And Doc's response was something to the effect of, well, it's about time it leaked. And they thought that Doc was gonna they all thought that Doc was gonna be mad about it. And Doc's answer to them was, well, it's about time that it leaked. And then Doc says, God knows I've leaked so many things over my career. If you're trying to create buzz, you're creating buzz, at least to me with Eric Singer,
Mhm.
but you're creating negative buzz
And
because
again, it's not even like Eric Singer is the most incredible, magical performer. Like him not showing up is a big magic, but it creates buzz because he's the fourth member of the current or most retired band. So like you can't help but have Eric draw attention.
you spent 20 some years driving Eric and Tommy down our throat,
Hmm.
telling us how good musicians they
Right.
are, how strong the band is with them in it, how this is. I've heard Paul Stanley say this is the real Kiss. Like you drove. Look, I didn't buy any of that, but you've been driving it down our throats for more than 20 years, and now all of a sudden, at the drop of a dime, you're trying to disregard the guy completely. Look, if you want to disregard Vinnie Vincent from History, knock yourself out. If you want to delete Mark St. John from History, knock yourself out. The rest of these guys, you just cannot delete them and remove them from history anytime it suits you. Like, of course, I'm not an Eric Singer hater. I'm not a big Eric Singer fan, but still, like he's part of the Kiss family.
Hmm.
And he's part of the Kiss family that was expected to be involved. Not only was he expected, but the first picture that went out, what feels like 10 years ago, March, I think, was Paul, Gene, Tommy, and Eric Singer. That was the first picture put out about Kiss in Vegas. And they have been backpedaling to the point, and I think we talked about this last week. Last week's picture was Kiss as a trio. And look, I've seen a lot of trios in my life, but I never seen a trio that didn't have a drummer.
Well, and again, this is supposed to be billed as a fan event, and you're playing games with the fans on what's going on with Eric.
Yeah, and at least for this fan, I got to tell you, I'm starting to get pissed off about it
It's
now.
annoying. It's definitely annoying.
I'm starting to get pissed off about it. I bought and paid for my everything, so there's nothing I can do about it other than come on here and have a platform to speak my mind or what's left of my mind. I don't know. I guess to be continued next week.
Hmm.
Finally, Doc McGhee on Your Morning Coffee podcast. Not very Kiss-centric, a lot about the music business, but interesting nonetheless. He does make a short comment about how Gene and Paul are the best partners that he could ever hope for, which blew my mind because no disrespect to Doc McGhee, but I always looked at Doc McGhee as an employee and not as a partner. And now I'm kind of rethinking that, thinking maybe Doc's got more skin in the game than, he brings up the avatars. I don't, how would he be involved in the avatars? But what do I know? A lot of women in my life ask me that. What do I know? I don't really have an answer for it. But he also talks about, he doesn't go, it's only 35, 40-minute long podcast, but he talks about the music business in general. He talks about things that he's currently doing. He does not a lot of stories, but he does talk about a story about going to see Motley Crue and walking into a live Motley Crue show and watching them run around the stage, roll all over the ground, scream into the mic, not be able to play their instruments, and think to himself, these guys are terrible. And then he turned around and looked out into the crowd, and there was 4,000 kids losing their minds over the band. And that's at the point that he said, And he goes on to explain that when he goes and sees a band, he doesn't look at the stage. He looks into the crowd. And that, it never struck me before he said that. I, who know nothing, would go and would watch the band. Can they play? Do I like the songs? Do I like the look? Do I like this? It doesn't matter what Doc McGhee likes. It matters what the fans like.
Right.
The older I get, the smarter I get at looking at very successful people and listening to how they go about their business. And if you do that, I really think most people, you figure out why they're successful.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's probably the number one reason why Doc McGhee's successful. Also, he does really quickly, he does talk about Bill Aucoin. He has nothing but very nice things to say about Bill Aucoin. I think he calls him a genius, which we've spoken about before. Bill Aucoin is absolutely a genius, but he talks about it in like Bill Aucoin was a genius for KISS. Like, just because he was a genius for KISS doesn't mean that he would be a genius for every other band. It's a lot of mix and match and putting personalities together. So I thought that was very interesting. And like I said, it's only 35, 40 minutes long. And it's a good listen, if you ask me. So once again, it's Your Morning Coffee Podcast, a conversation with Doc McGhee, if you're interested. Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Just adding about Doc, obviously, me and you were both huge fans of his. He's a fascinating character, and I hope to someday see a documentary about him. Even if there's nothing about KISS, the guy is a very interesting, has had very interesting career.
He absolutely has. He absolutely has. You know what I think? I think that we should start working on a Doc McGhee documentary. The Hooligan Nation presents. We have a hard enough time doing this podcast.
And not for nothing, we have a list a mile long of people we want as guests on this show. He's pretty high on my list.
He's pretty high on mine too. He's pretty high. And look, I got to be fair. He's pretty high because it's not a one subject thing.
Right.
It'll
definitely be a centric interview.
Absolutely. I have so many questions when it comes to bands like Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, Skid Row.
He's done other projects with other things too. Like he's had a full career. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. And you know what? From the podcast that I listened to today, he does not appear to have any intention of retiring. He he spoke about that a little bit and said, "Look, I like golf, but I don't like it that much." He's very much like Gene, and I think
Yeah.
like Paul, in that these guys are never gonna retire. Gene Simmons is not a retiring guy, and I think Paul's a little more quiet about what he does, but I don't think by any means Paul Stanley is like chilling at home with his feet up right now.
No,
But
no.
Paul Stanley is working in some way. So's Gene Simmons, and it sounds like so's Doc McGhee, which is very interesting to me, and that's how they got along
To,
for 30 plus years.
yeah, I mean, to me, if I had to sum up in a sentence about Doc and what he is a mover and shaker, and he gets off on that, and that's what does it for him.
If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button, just like that guy, and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes, just like that guy. And check out these episodes right here. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us. And don't forget, we should all lead with love and take care of each other. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.